What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Emily. What's up? Welcome. I'm happy to have you here. I am a kinesiology major, a sports nutrition specialist through the ISSN, an NPC bikini competitor, just an overall avid health and fitness enthusiast, and I'm also really big on science-based practices. I'm very interested in science. I'm a kinesiology major. So that's kind of the heart and soul of my channel, is information and science as it pertains to health and fitness and training and nutrition. So that's what we're here for today. Before we get into that, first and foremost, for y'all that are subscribers, that last video, I was not expecting the response that you guys gave, and honestly it was such a relief to hear that you guys kind of felt the same way as me, because I've been feeling like that for a long time, and I've just been like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, in regards to YouTube, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't fun, this isn't fulfilling, this isn't what it used to be. And hearing that you guys kind of felt the same way was such a huge relief. So that's kind of why I'm here for this video today, is just I want to bring it back to the heart and soul of my channel, which is informing you guys. Like, if you go all the way back to the very first video that I ever made, it was recorded on my iPhone, terrible quality, and edited on my iPhone. That was a feat. But you know, that was the whole point of me starting this channel, was to educate you guys. So bringing it back to that. And so today I want to talk to you guys about a research review that I saw on this thing called MASS that I'm subscribed to. So MASS is this subscription site where I believe it's Eric Helms, Mike Zordos, and Greg Nuckols come together every single month, and they kind of compile some of the most up and coming or most recent research as it pertains to strength sports. So things like health and fitness and lifting and bodybuilding and powerlifting and all of that good stuff. I'm not affiliated with MASS, so I don't have an affiliate link to give you guys, but I do know some people that do, so that will be in the description box. But basically, I just wanted to share with you one of the articles that one of the pieces of research that they reviewed this past month that really piqued my interest and kind of just pertains to all that I am about. So yes, it does confirm my bias, but it's something that I wanted to share with you guys, because I think it's something that you guys would be interested in as well, and you guys ask me about mentality all the time. So transitioning into that, the topic of today's little chat is, can mental strength training make you physically stronger? And so I'm huge on mentality and mental strength, and I took sports psychology last semester, or no, 2 semesters ago, so last fall. A lot of the top athletes across any sport go to see a sports psychologist to work on their physical game by strengthening their mental game. So, and just like a quick note, this isn't, you know, a replacement. This is fine-tuning, or I would consider, you know, psychological training an essential, but it's not a replacement for you just being a punk in the gym. Like, you still have to train hard, you still have to eat right, like that's still required. But anyway, so this study that they reviewed on MASS took skilled, which was either elite or sub-elite kickboxers, and they had one group just physically train, and then the other group did the same physical training while also adding in mental training. It was over the course of 12 weeks. They did the same exact strength training program, except one group just had to add in the mental training as well. The physical training plus mental training group did the exact same workout, and both groups, both the physical training only and then the physical training plus mental training only, they had the same amount of rest time between sets. The difference was the mental trainers that did the same physical training, the mental training group did 80 seconds of positive self-talk during their rest periods, whereas the group that just physically trained was kind of left to do whatever they wanted. With the motivational self-talk, the athletes were asked to take something negative, whether they thought about themselves or their training or whatever, and turn it into something positive. So that could be like, oh, this next set of squats is gonna be the hardest set of my life and it's gonna be terrible. Turn it into something like, oh, I'm gonna kill this next set. It could be something as simple as that. And then also after their workouts, the mental training group did 30 minutes of first person, what was basically just like kinesthetic imagery. So they basically were just visualizing themselves doing the exercises. During that time, the PT only group, they called it neural cognitive tasks. They didn't really go into detail about what that was, but they did make a note that there wasn't anything involved with mental images and that, so like it wasn't mimicking what the other group was doing as far as imagery. As far as exercises, sorry, Luna's chewing on a bone down there. But as far as exercises, like I said, the groups did the same exact exercises. They were doing bench, half squats, medicine ball throws, and counter movement jumps, and that was the program. As far as there was, sorry, like Neville, this is my plant Neville. He is joining us today, and he is kind of poking me, but it's okay. We love him. He's great. Yes, I named my plants after a Harry Potter character too. It's fine. So as far as the results go, they were measuring performance-based things, health markers, and then hormone markers. So as far as the performance-based markers, both groups saw performance increases. However, the physical training and mental training group saw larger changes in their performance. So in particular, their bench increased by 26 to 27%, whereas in the physical training only group, it was about a 16% increase, and that for that exercise was seen as a large effect. For the half squat, there was a similar effect where the mental training group had about a 26% improvement, and then the physical training only group had about a 16% improvement. For that in particular, it was only seen as a medium-sized effect. I'm not sure why. As far as health markers, the decreases in heart rate and blood pressure were also greater in the mental training group, the group that did, you know, those motivational self-talk exercises and the visualization after their training. And then with the hormone reporting, it was a little bit confusing. They think there might have been some misreporting in the data because it like didn't make 100% sense, so I won't really talk about that much. So long story short, the group that did the mental training along with the same exact physical training saw performance improvements and health improvements. So kind of some practical takeaways here. I've said this a couple of times. I don't know if I've ever said it in a video. I say it to myself all the time, but the body follows the mind, in my opinion. And this seems to kind of confirm that. So obviously I'm a little bit biased here because I already had this belief. You have to always take into consideration, like when you're listening to someone talk about research, or even the researchers themselves, what biases they had going into whether it's looking at the research or doing the research. So I already did have some preconceived biases as far as mental training making you physically stronger. So please be aware of that, because I use mental training techniques myself. So a couple examples of things that I did when I was in contest prep, in particular during my cardio. During the last 5 minutes of each session, I would put my head up, I would put on the same exact song every single time, and I had a mantra that I would repeat over and over and over again in my head for that last 5 minutes. Sounds a little kooky, but I swear to you, it helped. And then just doing things like having a meditation and mindfulness practice. And then I had like a pre-bed routine with regards to competition prep. Every night before bed, I would literally take my bikini out of the box. I would sit down, I would cross my legs, I would close my eyes, hold my bikini, and I would visualize and I would pray. And holding, you know, my bikini, or if you're a lifter, like this sounds nuts, it really does. Holding your shoes or your wraps or whatever, and doing that visualization with something that means something to you regarding your sport, like that's very powerful, and it makes the visualization like a little bit more real. So like some practical applications for you guys for this. If this isn't something you already do, if you don't already talk, I know everybody like positivity and self-love and all that unicorn stuff is really on trend right now, which is great. It's not a bad trend. We could all use more positivity. But if you're not practicing positive self-talk right now, and if you're not practicing it during your training, it could definitely, as this study and this review showed, improve your training ability and your strength and your performance overall. So between sets, say for example, you're the kind of person, and I fall into this sometimes too, like checking your phone, checking your text messages, checking your social media, checking your email, Snapchatting, Instagram storing, whatever. Instead of doing that between sets, try replacing that, or at least part of it, with some positive self-talk. You know, if you are going into a heavy squat day, for example, instead of saying, oh my gosh, this next set is gonna be terrible, it's gonna be super heavy, it's gonna move super slow, it's gonna feel like crap, talk to yourself in your head between sets and say, I'm gonna do a great job on this next set, I'm gonna crush this set, it's gonna be executed well, it's gonna move up fast, it's gonna be great, and visualize yourself doing the exercise. If you're on like a weight loss journey, and this would be really applicable for people that may feel like self-conscious going into the gym, which happens to a lot of people, especially women. They feel self-conscious going into the gym because they're not where they wanna be physically yet. So between sets, instead of getting down on yourself and thinking, oh my gosh, all these people around me look so much better than me, they're already where I wanna be, they're probably not where they wanna be, that's why they're there. But you're in your head thinking, oh my gosh, all these people look so much better than me, look at her shoulders compared to mine, look at her butt compared to mine, oh, this dude has such a huge bench compared to mine, whatever it is. Instead of thinking that, or thinking I'll never reach my physique goal, flip that around and say, and give yourself some kind of positive motivation, like I'm here today, I'm gonna be better than I was when I came in today, after this set, after this next rep, after this entire workout as a whole, and visualize yourself where you wanna be. I think that's really, really powerful, and it can help take you out of negative spaces, especially when you're first starting out, or if you're, you know, starting out a cut or you're starting out a growing period. Those changes are really hard to see at first, and sometimes you don't see any changes for a while, and that can be really demotivating. So something like having these positive self-talk moments, or those positive mantras that you repeat to yourself over and over again, and these visualizations of you being, you know, where you want to be, or lifting the weight you want to lift, or whatever it is, that can be really powerful in keeping you motivated. So another thing, while they had the test subjects sit for the mental training group after their workout for 30 minutes and do that kinesthetic imagery where they were, you know, visualizing themselves doing the bench or the half squat or the med ball throw or the jump or whatever. I don't think sitting and visualizing yourself doing your workout all over again for 30 minutes after your workout is really practical for most people, but a way that you could implement visualization, because I do think that's a really powerful tool, is just having it, you know, 5 to 10 minutes a day to start out. If you want to increase it, great, but you know, having just that minimum goal of 5 minutes of visualization where you're sitting down, you're in, you know, a calm, peaceful position. It helps for me when I do stuff like visualization if it's completely silent, or if I'm somewhere where it's not silent, if I have like noise canceling headphones or just headphones in or on my ears to kind of block out some of the rest of the world. But just sitting there and doing that visualization and bringing to mind, doing as much sensory recall as you can, like try to envision the sights, how things around you feel, like how the bar feels on your back, what smells are around you, what do you hear, what do you, like I said, what do you hear, what do you feel? If you can bring it down to like what you taste in your mouth, like saliva, it's great. But as much sensory recall as you can to make the visualization as real as possible, and that kind of gets easier over time. Just additional application, I think, like, it would be important for me to know, like, I think this is particularly applicable for high stress athletes like myself. I think that's part of why this helps so much, is because I am a very high stress athlete. My mind is my strength, but because I have such a strong, like, mental game, it can also be my weakness at times, in the sense that I overthink things and I get really stressed out about just little small things. Also, like I kind of mentioned before, it might be valuable to implement something like a mindfulness or a meditation practice. I use the app called Calm. You can just get it in the Apple Store. I don't know if they have it for Android, but you can literally do mindfulness sessions that are guided and as short as 2 minutes. So I promise you, you have 2 minutes. I promise you. I used to like sit in my car between classes and do them if I was having a really stressful day. I'm not nuts, I promise you, maybe a little bit, but I'm not crazy, you guys. Like, psychological training as it pertains to athletes is legit, I promise you. Strong mind, strong body. It's a process and it takes some time, but I promise you it. And okay, mind training, psychological training, like doing this stuff that I just told you guys about, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Like, I don't have a discount code for it because it's freaking free. Like, you don't need a dime for it. I need even a penny because it's all in here. So yeah, it's harmless. It's harmless to implement as long as they're positive thoughts. You know, obviously negative thoughts are going to be harmful. And then just a final disclaimer, this won't treat, if you're somebody that's suffering with a mental, I feel like it's really important for me to say this, if you're somebody that's struggling with a mental illness like anxiety or depression or OCD or something like that, this is not going to fix that. It's not going to cure that. That needs the help of a professional. But if you're just looking to add a little bit of an edge to your performance in training, mental strengthening tactics can definitely help. So I would definitely say that mental strength translates into physical strength, to answer my question from the beginning. So that's it for this video here today. Program it into your training. Program, you know, even just 5 minutes of mental strengthening into your day, and I promise you, you'll see a difference. And let me know if you try it and if you do, because I really cannot say this enough to you. I feel like the people that do this, the people that I know that do this, are some of the most just strong and sound and unshakable athletes and people that I know. So Lauren Conlin, Paul Ravella, and Jeff Nippard, I believe they all do similar reviews of stuff that they see on mass, kind of like this one as well. That's where I got the inspiration from. I watched Paul's yesterday. I believe all 3 of them have affiliate links to mass, so if you're interested in subscribing and want to support one of those 3 amazing individuals, I will put their links in the description box below. Like I said, I myself don't have one, but these 3 people are freaking phenomenal people in the industry. They are kind of along the same thread of trying to increase the science and information out there for people and making it, you know, palatable for people to consume and understand. So it's up to you to choose whichever one of those three you want to support if you decide you want to subscribe to math. But again, they will be in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm excited to bring the channel back to its heart, which is to learn, to grow, and to flourish and thrive and just become smarter, stronger, better people from the inside out. So thank you guys so much for supporting that, supporting me, all that good stuff. I love you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.